All right. Obviously, I've been involved in this 4 years going on. Yes, fourth year. Yeah, 4 years. The rivalry game, ASU against Arizona, obviously, and it's one that the more you get involved in it, the more you understand the passion of the fans and the players. I think of the players that have been here over the course of my tenure. You feel it from them. You understand how important it is. And we talked about it Monday when the guys came in, or excuse me, Sunday, when the players came in. We talked about the rivalry, the cup. We'll talk about it all week. We'll go back and show them the history of this and how far it goes back. And we'll have some former players come talk to them as well. We did it last year, and that's kind of always been how we've handled this week. I think it's guys that have played in this game as actual Arizona State players and how they felt about it. It's senior day for us that day, which is important. So there's a lot that goes into it. When you watch these guys on tape, they're a very competitive group. Now they play hard. They really do. They play hard. They've got them playing hard, and they've got some good players. And so a game like this doesn't matter what the records are. We know what this thing's about, and our players will know, especially the young ones, the freshman kids we have. They kind of understand, but I think the more they learn about the rivalry of this thing, the better. Questions?
Chris Carbon, son of a source. Herm, now that you've been able to watch that game and think about it a little bit more, the offensive problems that have been apparent through the season, what do you make of them, and just what do you think about what you have to really do to get on some kind of a better trajectory?
Well, I think the trajectory is the passing game. The running game has been pretty good. Now, last week, not so much, and they piled up on us and got us in some bad downs, and we weren't able to run the ball like we would like. But with that being said, if you have an efficient passing game, that helps you. And if you look at the beginning of it, first play we run, next play we throw a pass and it gets intercepted. And then the next series we go 3 and out. And then the next series we go 5 plays and we punt. And then we finally get into a groove, and I think we go 9 plays, I'm not quite for sure, and we miss a field goal. So I just think the flow of the offense is kind of where we're at, and how we get better with that, that's the critical part, for us, to get it going on offense. And we have to be able to throw the football with consistency. Guys getting open, man-to-man coverage, that's important. And the chemistry of guys being in and out of lineup with Jaden hasn't helped. I told Jaden when he first became a starter, his freshman year, he had a pretty good receiver. His name was Brandon Ayuk, first-round pick, and that can bail you out. We don't have that guy yet, right? We don't have that guy. I mean, we have some players, some good players, but they're young. A lot of them with not a lot of experience. These guys have been in and out of lineup. I mean, just the whole. I'm not making excuses, but that's the reality of it. And so, I just think that we got to get that thing tuned up and get it going.
Yes. Do you think it's primarily personnel related? Are there confidence issues or other factors that are at play because of what you're talking about with Jaden and
Well, I think this. I think when you're not playing the way you imagine to have the ability to play, there's some confidence in it, right? Sure there is. I mean, that confidence is kind of interesting. If you drop a ball, but then when you catch it, you get your confidence back, right? And so that's what we got to do. We got. When you looked at our offense versus UCLA, passing wise, right? It was like, oh, it's pretty good. We got to get that back. We got the running part pretty much, but now we got to get the passing part.
Doug Haller, The Athletic. Herm, you mentioned Senior Day, and
Yes.
in the past, you'd be able just to go on the roster and look at all the seniors and say, okay, that's who's going to be honored. It's a little bit more complicated now with the extra year with COVID. How are you guys dealing with that?
Yeah, we're talking about that as you asked the question. What guys are going to walk? What guys are going out? We're trying to figure that all out. And you're right, it's kind of interesting. There's some good news. I'm hearing some guys that I thought were going to leave going to come back. So it'll be interesting to see when we get it all figured out. We got until Saturday. We're working on that today as you speak, and tomorrow. It'll be more come defined, I think, when we actually talk with the players that we're saying, are you going to do this? Or are you going to wait? What are you going to do? Yep.
And then, Coach, to kind of piggyback on Jaden, I mean, he always said everything, whatever happened on the field, he always shakes off. But for you as a coach, I mean, has it been a little bit more of a challenge in talking to him just to kind of keep that confidence up with him?
No, I think he's a confident guy. And I just think what makes you more confident is when you can see it happen. In real time when you're playing in the game. And Jaden was in today and looking at kind of, what we're thinking about doing offensively. And I just think it's just a matter of, I've always said this with quarterbacks, getting some easy completions. Seeing a guy catch the ball, you throw it, and the guy catches it. I mean, that's always good. And Zach understands that. And I think that's with any quarterback. You just want to complete some passes and get a flow going, right? And I think that's important. And this team here, defensively, they play a lot of man-to-man. They're going to bring pressure. They got a good front that can bring pressure. They've got some young corners and some safeties that cover well. So we're going to have to get open. And then Jaden's going to have to hit them when they get open.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Coach, I talked to Chase Lucas last week, and I was talking to him about maturity and where he needed to come from. And he said you had a talk with him, you and AP, 2 years ago about what he needed to do if he wanted to play at the next level. What all can you say about that talk and how Chase has responded since then?
Well, I think just his work ethic. And I think being a captain kind of put him in a different position on this football team where he has a voice. And he's playing one of the hardest positions to play beside quarterback. He's playing corner. And you're asked to cover a lot in man-to-man coverage. And, sometimes they're going to catch some balls on him, but that's just part of it. You have to have selected memory as a corner. You can't let it bother you or put a burden on you. But I think he is playing well. He's playing at a high level, and he's one of our team leaders. And it's just fun to watch him from when I first arrived here to right now, where he's matured as a young man. And you like seeing it. There's some growth in that, and it's the system, it's the culture that has helped him with that, and it's good for the young guys to see because he's going to have to pass the torch to somebody else, right? There's some guys in the wings waiting. When you think about him and Jack, they're going to leave, and so all of a sudden, you got some young corners that are watching these guys practice every day, and watching Chase especially because he's been here. He knows the history better than anybody because he's been here so long, right? So it's good for him to have a voice, and he uses it in the correct manner, which is really good.
Hey, Coach, in the back, Zach Keenan, Devil's Digest. I asked you this question last year, and you said that you were thankful for your family, your health, and the opportunity to spend time with family. I'll ask you again, what are you thankful for this year? We approach Thanksgiving.
Well, I think we've kind of learned how to deal with COVID, right? That's when you think about it, the world. Now everyone's not in the same position that a lot of people are, depending where you're at. But COVID's not far from my mind at all. What we all had to go through last year, right? You folks, us. I mean, there's people in the stands. I mean, I can talk to you this way. I still got a mask, but I can talk to you this way. I'm thankful for that. That has kind of made it, when you think about sports, fans are back in the stadiums. You watch television, fans are in this, right? It's different. I'm very, and I appreciate it. I really do. And I don't take it for granted. I really don't. I don't take it for granted. I think when you get my age, and I'm understand I'm old, but you just appreciate the things that I think sometimes we take for granted. It's interesting. When you look at stuff, you look at life, especially for me, when I look at names that come across the ticker of great athletes, that are around my age or a little bit older that have passed away. You know, you look at that, and when you're 25 years old and you used to see it, it's like, oh. But when you're my age, you look at it and you go, oh. You know, and there's a little bit of a, I'm just thankful. You know, I'm thankful for every day I have. I really am, because life is shorter than we expected sometimes. We have this, you know, calendar in our brain saying, oh, all of a sudden, one day I became 50. I went, wow. You know, now I'm getting close to 70. And I'm going, wow. And I never would have thought it. I don't think that, but I know that's going to be the number. You know, some years. I still got some years left before I get there, but I'm getting close. I'm on the other side of it, right? And you see it. And I've been in football my whole life. You know, I've played in Thanksgiving Day games. I've all that kind of stuff, man. I watched it when I was a little kid, saying, I want to play in the NFL in a Thanksgiving Day game, and Thanksgiving, I'll never forget it. Thursday's coming. And all your family, all your friends, all your loved ones, hopefully you can gather them. You know, last year you couldn't do that. A lot of people were nervous about that, right? Now this year you can do that. And I know when we get ready to carve the turkey, there's always some people that I'm thankful for in my life. There's people that are no longer here. And I say a prayer for them as well, every Thanksgiving. So I think we have to be thankful for that.
Herm, Zach Hill's been between the field and the box in games a few times, and he's been maybe a little more divided this year between coaching quarterbacks and receivers, and you have Wade and Trey Anderson.
Right.
Have those things had any sort of impact on what you're trying to get done with the passing game?
Yeah, I don't know that so much. I just think that it's just we haven't been consistent. And you're always looking for consistency. If you say running game, you go, wow, A+. Right? I mean, really. I mean, we've been pretty good running the football. And it's been consistent. It's been kind of our staple. But really, since we've been here, that's kind of been our staple. Been on running the ball. We've been fortunate to have some good running backs, right? And good offensive line play. But I think, you know, coming into this, we wanted to be a little bit more explosive at the wide receiver position and in the passing game. And we've seen it in little spots. But lately, it just, you know, it hasn't been what you want. And we, you know, I'm not criticizing. That's what it is. It's not. I'm not pointing the finger at a coach or a player. I don't do that. It's just we got to come together collectively and get more out of our passing game.
Hey Herm, Autumn Thompson, 12 News. Coming up on the Territorial game on Saturday, what's been your whole reflection about the season?
About the season or the Territorial?
No, this entire season.
It's been like all seasons. There's been some highs. There's been some, I wouldn't say lows. There's been some wow, right? And that's football. I think if you look at our conference, every coach would say that. Every coach would say that. Whatever team they're coaching, there's 12 of us. If we're in the south or the north, they would all say, oh, there's been some wow, and then there's been some really. And if you look at it, at the records of teams in it, they're just kind of like, you know, it's interesting, right? Last week, if we can win, we get 8 wins. I don't know. You look at the conference, okay, then compare it to everybody else in the conference. What does it look like? And so that's what this Pac-12 is about. I said it when I first was involved in it and got involved in it. It's interesting how it all shakes out at the end.
Hey, Coach. Jonah Krell, WCSN. Darius Henderson. Every time he talks to the media, he seems to make us laugh all the time. I talk to him. He's sort of like a gentle giant off the field. Based on your interactions with him, what is his character off the field? And then on the field, how have you seen him grown this year? Because he's had a pretty good year as well.
Oh, he's been tremendous. Came in there as a freshman, had to play tackle, right? Moved into guard, and he is actually becoming one of the leaders there, and he's going to have to be the leader there next year because we're going to be missing some guys. But he has a voice. He's very hard on himself as a player. You know, he's very, 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 very hard when he doesn't play well. And just to watch him from his freshman year, when we played Michigan State, right? And we're going, oh boy, he's gonna have to block those guys. And he went in there and he just played. And it was like, how about that? You know, from that day going forward, just how he's really grown up and how he's more mature as a player. You know, he has a voice. Before he didn't say anything, didn't say a lot. Now his personality comes out. And I think they all do. You know, eventually you get in a culture where you go, okay. You know, I tell them all the time, I say, man, you've earned the right. You've earned the right. You've been a starter since you've been here. Your voice, when you say things, it means something to people. You know, because you've earned the right by what you've done on the grass since you've been a freshman. So I think it's fun to watch him grow as well.
Coach, Prince James Story, Cronkite News. Is there a specific play or moment from like previous games versus U of A that just are stuck in your head that you look back on and like, wow, that was great?
Previous play, I don't know. I just think they all have been different in a sense, you know, but you understand the impact of it all when you're out there playing. You can feel the electricity, whether we go down there or they come up here. You can just feel it. It's a different feeling because of the history of it all and how many people are involved in this. Both fan bases are really excited about when this game comes. I'm glad that it's played the last game of the season. And some of these traditional games aren't that way anymore, right? I mean, you know, it's just for some reason because of scheduling, but it's good to be the last, and I think fans appreciate that it is the last game of the season. And no matter what your record is, doesn't matter. This is the one. And so that's the fun for me of it. Well, we had 3 of them by skill players. Don't lose sight of that. Running back, wide receiver, and the 2 running backs actually, right? And then 3 were on offensive linemen. And it's just concentration. It's simple as that. It's knowing that this is what they're going to do. We practice it. We have the loud music. We do everything. We go to a silent camp. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I can't. I think that when you look at it, it's rearing its head in college football because it's happening so much. And I think there's this fine line of defensively what you can do in movements and what you say as you move. I think that's going to have to be looked at because it's happening all over college football. And I'm not saying, you know, I'm just, when I talk to coaches, that's the big thing on the ticket right now. Is this happening? And why is it happening? And it's happening at an alarming rate. Now, you guys cover our games. I get it. But it's happening through college football. It just ain't, oh, it's ASU. No, it's happening in college football. And, you know, and it's starting to rear its head like, whoa, what is this? What is this going on? And more on the road when you go on the road than at home, obviously. But we got to do a better job of just concentrating. That's all. That's all you can do. You can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. I can't coach it. You practice it, and that's what you do. You practice, hey, you don't false start. There's a snap count. Now you look at the ball. The guard's going to hit the center. Somewhere in there, the ball's going to get caught. Now, you can go in the center. Okay? You can go in the center. Go in the center more if that's bothering you. But then your offense, okay, well, you can't go in the center all the time because you want to be in the gun for some stuff. So there's this happy media of where it's at. And we were fine in that game until the last quarter. And then all of a sudden, it appears again. And
Coach, sometimes it's hard to get up after a loss, especially one like you just had. But I imagine having the Territorial Cup is good in the sense that it's not hard to get up for that game.
No, and I think yeah, because we got home at 5 and I didn't go home. No, I didn't go home. I stayed here. And I started watching tape. So it's what it is, and you know it. And it's, there's always at every level, there's a rivalry game. And at this level, this is historically goes back a long, long, long time. And I think it's interesting how both parties have different stories. If you listen to somebody from Arizona and listen to somebody from Arizona State, there's different stories of the games they went to and witnessed. And it's interesting to me when I hear the stories. And I hear from both sides. I have friends on both sides. I mean, they tell me this has happened this year and that. I say, oh, interesting, okay. So it's interesting that way for me. Yes, sir.
Coach, last year Jed Fish, to put it lightly, took over a program that was struggling. What have you seen him do with the U of A, U Arizona program since taking over? Maybe not only in coaching, but also in the recruiting pool in the state?
Yeah,
sort of thing.
done a nice job of really, in my opinion, of playing with a team that has a lot of energy. They run a little bit of the New England offense, which is multi-dimensional in what they do with players, how they attack different defenses. He's got a lot of young guys that are playing. He's kind of building a program there. You can see it. They play very, very hard in all 3 phases of football. They really do. And they're very competitive. And it's interesting to watch, because I kind of know what he's trying to do, when you play that many young guys, right? And I think if you look at the first game compared to now, there's development in those young guys. They've got a lot of snaps under their belt now, and they're more confident, and they're going to get better. So it's a hard task, but he's done a really good job. That whole coaching staff has done a good job, and the players are responding well, too.